Hi, my name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 24, verses 30 to 34. I passed by the field of a sluggard, by the vineyard of a man lacking sense, and behold, it was all overgrown with thorns. The ground was covered with nettles, and its stone wall was broken down. And then I saw and considered it. I looked and received instruction. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. And poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man. So here we have a summary in some respects of the consequences of laziness, or the sluggard, which is one of the marks of foolishness in Proverbs. We've met him several times through the chapters of this book. But the sluggard is lazy. He doesn't get things done that should be done. He won't get out of bed. He just tosses and turns like a door on its hinges, it says elsewhere in Proverbs. He puts things off until a better or more convenient time. Usually that day is tomorrow. But we also have the man lacking sense. He doesn't understand what it takes to grow a vineyard, the diligence, and what things need to be done for it to produce grapes. And consequently, it's overrun with thorns and nettles, things that choke out any positive growth of the thing planted. The thorns and nettles take no effort to produce. You don't plant them. They're just part of the curse of the ground that God cursed in Genesis chapter 3. They come naturally with no effort required. And they're what any conscientious farmer hates, or gardener. They spend a great deal of time getting rid of it because they rob the vineyard and the crops of nutrients that are found in the ground. But even the stone wall that protects the land and establishes the boundaries of the land have been ignored, and they're falling down. And they're serving no purpose whatsoever. The doors are open to thieves, and his whole farm is a mess. The sluggard is either too lazy to bother or doesn't understand the harmful effects of the thorns and weeds. Either way, the result is the same: poverty. And the field and the vineyard here are obviously basically metaphors for their lives. I walked by the life of a sluggard, or by the one lacking sense, and his life was a mess. They spent their time wasting it by lying in bed and refusing to work, or they wasted it pursuing worthless things that kept them from the important things, the real things, the things in life that make life worth living, things like being responsible. Wise people may not enjoy doing these things, but they do them because they need to be done to protect and provide for the family. The sluggard doesn't lack energy. He just lacks wisdom. He lacks purpose. He lacks drive. He's only thinking about himself. He's motivated by his feelings. He doesn't understand that being responsible involves sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do. He thinks sometimes the world owes him a living, or that it will just all work out in the end. And sadly, in our society, the sluggard is subsidized or rewarded by our government. But what a life. The writer says, I passed by the field of the vineyard, and as I did, I saw, and I considered, and I learned. That's the mark of a wise person. Learning as he goes. He's looking at the actions of people and the consequences and learning something. He's receiving instruction. Well, what did he receive? What did he learn? That a little sleep, not a lot, but just a little more than is needed, a little slumber rolling over for a little more shut-eye, a little folding of the hands, a little refusing to work, a little refusing to do the things that need to be done on a regular basis, just a little, has a profound impact. Poverty will come upon him like a robber, unexpectedly, like an armed man. You can't stop it. You see, life does not stand around waiting for the sluggard to get their act together, or for the person without sense to figure things out. When the harvest comes, all he has is weeds and thorns, and you can't sell it, you can't eat it, it's worthless. And our society today is filled with many such young people, and older people as well, who have been seduced by the lure of laziness. Maybe in their marriage, maybe with their children, maybe in their jobs. They're neglecting the hard things that make for a good relationships, a good job, good parenting. They're too busy playing video games and staring at their phones, and they can't hold down a job because they don't have the discipline to get up and show up on time. They cannot bear the weight of responsibility, commitment, and faithfulness. These are foreign concepts to them. And suddenly their poverty comes, and it does not just affect them, it affects their family, their children, their marriages fall apart, their kids want nothing to do with them. There's something to be said for learning from others, For the young person today with some ambition, with willingness to work and learn and be faithful and committed, they have great potential to go places in this world. There's very little competition. You will stand out like a sore thumb. I remember being in a conference one time, and the person who was talking about living a disciplined life and the importance of getting up early. And one person asked, how do you train your kids, or what do you do with your kids, or teach your kids about getting up early? What do you do with them when they get up? Do you read the Bible? What do you do? And he made an interesting point. He simply said, if you teach your kids to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and train them to do that faithfully so they understand the importance of getting out of bed, it doesn't matter if you just read in the newspaper. They've learned one of the more valuable lessons in life and how to get through this life and be successful in this life is to get up and get going and not to give in to the urge just to roll over and then go back to sleep, to get out of bed and get to work. Are you living by principle or by feeling? Are there things you're neglecting that you know need to be done to keep your life, your family, your marriage from being overrun and choked out with the weeds and thorns? That are keeping you from having a life filled with purpose and passion, a desire to please God, to glorify Him? Remember, you don't have to do anything for thorns and weeds to overtake your life. They just will. Remember that parable Jesus told about the soils? The thorny soil, this was described as the cares of this life and the deceitfulness of riches choke out the seed of the gospel in your life. Choke out the productivity in your life. But obviously the saddest part would be that they would choke out the gospel where you don't respond to the gospel of Jesus Christ because there's so many other things that have overtaken your life and they're choking out anything of value. If we don't discipline ourselves, we will be overrun. The sluggard, the person without sense, the results are the same. He says, then I saw and I considered it, and I looked and received instruction, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man. Learn the lesson of diligence, of being responsible, of being committed, of being faithful. Don't become a slave to your feelings. Don't become a slave to your bed. Get up, learn to get up, and get going. And God will bless your efforts. God will bless your life. And make God a part of your getting up. That you get up so you can spend time with Him. First things first. And then get on with your day. Very important principle. It's so easy and so quick how thorns can invade our life and choke out anything of value, anything of meaning, and destroy everything around us. So take these words to heart. And may God use these words to bless us and encourage us as we seek to live our lives for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.